Today is July the 23rd. Why does Jesus tell us to say we're only worthless slaves? That whole parable that Jesus says is a little unusual. It sounds actually harsh. Let's read it. Luke 17 from 7 to 10. Who among you would say to your slave who's just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, "Come here at once, take your place at the table"? Wouldn't you rather say to him, "Prepare supper for me. Put on your apron and serve me while I eat and drink. Later, you may eat and drink"? Do you thank the slave for doing what was commanded? So you also, when you've done all that you were ordered to do, say, "We're worthless slaves. We have only done what we ought to have done." Boy, that sounds harsh, doesn't it? But let's think about it. You see, this parable is not about slavery. Jesus is not here validating slavery. He is simply observing normal practice with slaves. It's not really even about gratitude. Jesus doesn't say that we shouldn't thank people for doing things for us. He is just commenting on the way people traditionally would behave with their slaves. This is about doing what we ought to do. There's a similar story in the Old Testament about not a slave, but a king who, in the eyes of at least one, debased himself. Let's read 2 Samuel chapter 6, the story of King David bringing the ark into Jerusalem. Stick around afterward. I have a few comments.
David again gathered all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. David and all the people with him set out and went to Baale Judah to bring up from there the ark of God, which is called by the name of the Lord of hosts, who is enthroned on the cherubim. They carried the ark of God on a new cart and brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill. Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, were driving the new cart, the ark of God, and Ahio went in front of the ark. David and all the house of Israel were dancing before the Lord with all their might, with songs and lyres and harps and tambourines and castanets and cymbals. And when they came to the threshing floor of Nacon, Uzzah reached out his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen lurched. The anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God struck him there, and he died there beside the ark of God. David was angry because the Lord had burst forth with an outburst upon Uzzah. So that place is called Perez-Uzzah to this day. David was afraid of the Lord that day. He said, "Can the ark of the Lord come into my care?" So David was unwilling to take the ark of the Lord into his care in the city of David. Instead, David took it to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. The ark of the Lord remained in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and all his household. It was told King David, "The Lord has blessed the household of Obed-Edom and all that belongs to him because of the ark of God." So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. And when those who bore the ark of God had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed an ox and a fattened calf. David danced before the Lord with all his might. David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of trumpet. As the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Milcah, daughter of Saul, looked out the window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, and she despised him in her heart. They brought the ark of the Lord and set it in its place inside the tent that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and offerings of well-being before the Lord. When David had finished offering the burnt offerings and the offerings of well-being, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts, and distributed food among all the people, the whole multitude of Israel, both men and women, to each a cake of bread, a portion of meat, and a cake of raisins. Then all the people went back to their homes. David returned to bless his household, but Milcah the daughter of Saul came out to meet David and said, How the king of Israel honored himself today, uncovering himself today before the eyes of his servants' maids, as any vulgar fellow might shamelessly uncover himself. David said to Milcah, "It was before the Lord, who chose me in place of your father and all his household, to appoint me as prince over Israel. The people of the Lord, I will dance before the Lord. I will make myself yet more contemptible than this, and I will be humbled in my own eyes. But by the maids of whom you have spoken, by them I shall be held in honor." And Milcah the daughter of Saul had no child to the day of her death.
So David danced, and his wife Michal, on seeing him dance, is very put off. She says a king shouldn't ask that way. Well, here again, this story in 2 Samuel 6 is not about prestige. David is not at all concerned with his own honor. This story is not about appearances. David doesn't mind that people see him half naked as he dances. It is about doing what we ought to do. This was a time for praise and celebration, and David danced in praise and celebration to the Lord. What do we do about this today? Well, what does Jesus want you to do today? What is it that you ought to do? Just get about doing it. Scripture reading from the New Revised Standard Version by Emily Herrera. If you like what you heard today, subscribe.